So Pittsburgh found their backup quarterback. It ain't Michael Vick, it's Le'Veon Bell.
Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We got our Steelers-Chargers game recap for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers pulled out a close one on the final play of the game. A gutsy call by Mike Tomlin sends Le'Veon Bell in the Wildcat for somewhere around the fifth, sixth time in the game. He takes that shotgun snap and gets it right into the end zone, and Pittsburgh wins 24-20.
Yeah, and if he wouldn't have got into the end zone at the end there, they would have lost that game because there was not enough time to call a timeout there.
You know, Tomlin thinks there was. I was listening to the press conference today.
Yeah, I heard that.
Pretty funny.
He knows there wasn't.
This was a scary game the whole time. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought Pittsburgh was going to lose.
Well, it was ugly offensively. It started with the offensive line. The offensive line did not play well in this game. Michael Vick didn't help him out. He was inaccurate early in the game, and the coaching staff didn't help him out. I mean, they put Vick in third and long situations all game long. I mean, running Wildcat pretty much for the first two plays. Not necessarily every time, but it was run, and then pass for Mike Vick on third and long pretty much all game long.
Yeah, I counted 9 total bad throws by Vick, I thought, in this game. One was on the Hail Mary, so you don't really count that. I mean, it was pretty crappy Hail Mary throw. There was a couple that sailed over people's heads, and 2 or 3 of them were because he got hit when he was throwing. So I'll give him about 5 to 6 bad throws.
That's what I'd say.
That, could have caught. Now, some of these were on third down, too, so that's where it really started to cost Pittsburgh. Before Vick took over, and I'm not hating, but the Steelers were ticking at 50% on third down conversions. Since then, we're lucky to be at 30%. So that's a big thing the Steelers need to try to improve on if they want to keep winning games without Big Ben.
Well, I tell you what, it's not going to happen unless they change their game plan. You cannot do it like they did all game. I'm telling you, it was all third and long, and then they'd run a 20-yard out to whoever it was, and it'd be a bad pass in that situation. That's a lot of pressure to put on Mike Vick. But you know what? It was 10-10 at one point, and San Diego went down. Antonio Gates went down, scored that touchdown, went up 17-10. And Mike Vick, instead of just giving up at that point, because there was pressure on him all game, like I said, it started with the offensive line. He started to put it together. His arm came back. I kept saying early in the game, he's not throwing like himself. He was just not throwing hard. I know he was inaccurate. He's inaccurate a lot in his NFL career, but he just didn't have the type of zip he showed in that first game. And actually, I believe he played a little bit better in that first game, actually. But when it came down to it, San Diego went up 17-10, and he got it together. He threw the big touchdown to Marcus Wheaton, the 72-yard touchdown, and then when the Chargers went back up by a field goal, he kept it together, and he was accurate that entire final drive, drove him down the field in an important third down situation. He ended up with that 24-yard run, which was a huge play. So he came up with a couple big plays in this game, and I tell you what, this is exactly why I said I liked him over Gradkowski as our backup quarterback, because he's done it. He's kept him in the game. I know he threw some bad throws in this game. He could have got picked off a few times.
He had 3 balls bounced right off Chargers
Well, that
players.
third one, I would say, it didn't look like it was going to be picked. I think the receiver made a nice play where it wasn't going to be picked. But those other 2 definitely could have been picked. But he only has 1 turnover through those 2.5 games so far. And like I said, he's going to be able to keep you in games, and he comes up with a big play every now and again. The big play to Wheaton, the big run at the end of the game, and he kept it together. What, his 16th all-time fourth quarter drive win?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see that
I think
stat.
they said 15. He had 15 all-time during the game, so I figured that was his 16th one, and that's all I'm asking for. I mean, he should be 2-0 at this point, and I'm kind of happy with where the Steelers are right now.
I mean, I'm happy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want Ben back.
I still think that Gradkowski's knowledge of the offense from being here longer and more accurate passing would do better for the Steelers offense. And I'm not saying he'd be 2-0 or whatever. I'm not even saying 100% that he'd be playing better than Vick. I just think he suits the offense better. And you've seen it in these games. Antonio Brown doesn't have the rhythm with Vick. He doesn't have that rapport with the receivers. He's a little early or a little late when they're coming out of their cuts. That comes with time with working with these guys, and that's why I would have rather had Gradkowski over Vick. Now, Gradkowski's hurt, so I don't get that choice. Michael Vick has played serviceable, but did you know that Ben Roethlisberger was the one who called Vick's 72-yard touchdown? He called the play himself. He went up to the coaching staff and told him, yo, they're going to bite on this double move here on the outside. Let's roll Vick out. Let's do what he does best. Get him on the move a little bit and let him throw deep. They let him do it. He was successful. Steelers can win this football game.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I say it again and again. I don't like Todd Haley, and his game plan here with Michael Vick is terrible. And Big Ben knows Michael Vick better than Todd Haley does, obviously. And that's why I don't put much of the blame in this game or the first game on Michael Vick by any means. Their game plan was just horrible. Wildcat, I hate it. I hate it.
I hate gimmick offenses. I don't care if you have your backup quarterback in or not. He's now your starting quarterback. So you don't take your starting quarterback off the field. Why do you do that to the poor guy? It ruins his rhythm. If he gets 1 or 2 or 3 completions in a row, now you can get to go stand on the sideline and watch Le'Veon run it. And we all know Bell wasn't going to throw it. The Chargers knew it. We knew it. Millions of people around the freaking country knew it. So every time he was in it, they knew what was coming. Yeah, he scored the game-winning touchdown on it, but that's because Le'Veon is an exceptional player. It wasn't because it was some great play call. I would have rather seen Vick just hand it off to him, quite honestly.
Why not a Vick sneak? He can gain. It was like 4 inches they needed to gain.
I mean, yeah.
And
I'll take it.
If it had been down, they could have definitely called timeout after that play as well.
I'll take the touchdown, and I like the gutsy call going for it, too, not kicking a field goal. I like it. Good for you, Tom.
I'm not saying Vick was not inaccurate in his game because a lot of the throws he was. But like I said, the line had a lot to do with it. He was being hit and pressured a lot in this game. And like you said, the coaching staff, man, you cannot run Wildcat for 2 plays in a row, keep Vick on the sidelines, then bring him back in and expect him to convert a 3rd and 8. You know
and what about the time where they gave Le'Veon the ball 7 straight times, I think it was, 7 or 8 straight times? How is that keeping Vick in the rhythm of the game?
They actually ended up scoring 3 points on that drive, and that was really the only 3 points they scored offensively for a while, so I couldn't hate on it that much. But even that deep ball early in the game, they let Vick throw, man. I mean, we wanted a deep ball early.
Yeah.
And it was on 3rd and 3, though, which kind of made me mad because they were driving down the field a little bit, and then on 3rd and 3, instead of giving him an easy pass, they went deep downfield. Now, that's another pass I don't consider a bad pass necessarily because deep balls, they're 50-50 shots. He took it, and at least he didn't throw it short and throw a pick. He overthrew him by a couple feet. No big deal there or anything. But just the time they make these play calls, I'm just getting sick of it.
Well, Todd Haley's garbage. We've been saying it since we started this show.
I tell you who's not garbage are kickers this game. Chris Boswell, he looks like a beast. Even if he starts missing some field goals or whatever, this guy kicks it out of the back of the end zone, and that is huge in the end.
Yep.
And our punter, he looked 10 times better this week. Last week, I was bitching about him sucking. This week, they were all inside the 5-yard line, it seemed like.
And then we go and cut Ross Ventrone, our best special teams player. Obviously, you bring Martavis Bryant back. I'm not saying cut him, but the Steelers couldn't have found somebody else to cut. I loved Ross Ventrone. Dude was beast.
Yeah, I was happy with the special teams outside of all the penalties on the punts. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Why can't we learn how to not block somebody in the back? How hard is it for me to look at 47? If I can see his eyes, I can block him. If I see the back of his head, I'm not allowed to block him. It's that simple. What's so hard?
I tell you what, though, one thing I would do is I know you hate Dre Archer, but I'd get Antonio Brown out of the punt return. He had 5 punt returns in this game, and that's just more ways to get this guy hurt. He hasn't broken a big play. Now, if you really need a big play, you put him back there. But I got to keep this guy healthy because when Ben comes back, they're going to need Antonio Brown in this offense. And if he would happen to go down on a punt, I mean, it's Darius Hayward-Bay and Marcus Wheaton on the outside. I mean,
no way he's giving it up.
I understand,
he only gets 3 touches a game on offense now because Vick can't throw him the freaking football. So there's no way he's giving up those extra touches.
But look, Dre, yeah, maybe not right now. Maybe when Ben comes back or something. But Dre Archer, he looked pretty good on the kick return in this game, and he's looked good on his 4-5 returns this season, whatever it is. You got to find a way to get him a little bit more involved. If you don't want to do it on the offense, I'd do it on the punt return because I'm telling you, if you lose Antonio Brown, you're beat nuts.
Hey, we won a game without him even having 5 catches for 50 yards.
Please
so
believe.
I don't know.
It's all Mike Vick, though.
Le'Veon Bell, surprisingly, he had a great day. He scored the game-winning touchdown, but he didn't do what we both thought he was going to do. I thought he would have more than 111 yards rushing.
Well, I tell you what, I think he had, his long was 32, and then he had another close to 30-yard run. You took away those 2 runs, just like last week. 2 big runs, and then the rest of the game he was kind of shut down. And that's really why the offense struggled so much in his game. Like I said, they put Mike Vick in those 3rd and longs because they were just running the ball, and San Diego was stopping it. And even Easy at halftime, he looked at me, he's like, what have the Steelers got to do to win this game? I said they got to go downfield more, and even if Mike Vick doesn't hit the throws downfield, it'll open it up more for Le'Veon Bell because he is not making a huge impact in his game at this point.
Now, do you think it was poor offensive play not being able to run the ball, or do you think it was just we were telegraphing that we were going to run so much and we just kept run, maybe pass, run, that San Diego was so ready for it? Usually in our regular game plan, Ben mixes up run-pass plays so well that it feels like Le'Veon, he's gaining more per rush. When in this game, he did get shut down. He did get stopped in the backfield. Thank God for those couple big runs because we needed it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit of both because you look at the offensive line. Like I said, they weren't pass blocking very well in this game, and it's very reasonable to think they weren't blocking very well for Le'Veon Bell either.
You know what I didn't like, too? What is up with Ramon Foster having to stand there, look at Vick, and then tap Cody Wallace when it's time to snap the football? If that doesn't scream, we're telling you exactly when we're going to snap it, what does? Why even have a snap count?
Well, every team does that, man. I know. It looks
the Steelers didn't do that when Ben and Pouncey were there, even when it was just Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they do it a little different now that Mike Vick's there. Like they said before, Mike Vick only tells one lineman what's going on, and then he converts it to the rest of the line, whereas Ben was in. He gave everybody their blocking assignments.
It's too much. You're straight up might as well just say we're giving it to Vick now. Here we go. It doesn't help Vick. That's bad for him. The defenders can just tee off on the poor guy. That's probably why they were pummeling him into the ground.
Yeah, like I said, man, it starts with the offensive line. They needed to block better for Vick. Vick could have helped them out by making some better passes for him, and the coaching staff could have helped Vick out by calling better plays, not just featuring the run so much that you knew it was coming, and clock management, whoever runs the clock management team could have helped the coaching staff out as well because they almost blew the game for him.
Well, they took 18 seconds off the clock that weren't even supposed to. I can't believe San Diego fans aren't more mad. What if they would have had a couple seconds for Rivers to try to drive him down the field? You know what I mean? It was improbable. You know what I mean? It's not like the Stanford band play happens all the time, but you still would have had a shot. And I'm sick of these. We've seen it happen in games. They had Kansas City winning a game 1-0 on the bottom line the other day. What's up with these
Big
TV?
Ben had 26 yards passing.
The
right?
Steelers app said Big Ben had 1-for-1, one completion, 26 yards yesterday. The dude was in street clothes. Are you kidding me? Let's get it together, tech guys. I want to point out real quick, we've been bitching through 13 minutes of this segment so far, and yet the Steelers came out with a victory. So that's the good news amidst all these negative things that we're saying the Steelers need to work on. And we're not trying to beat the team down, but we're trying to let you guys know that this was somewhat of a lucky win and that the Steelers need to work on some things to continue to get to where we all thought they could be this year.
Yeah, there's so many problems with the offense in this game. It's hard to keep them all together. But I tell you who did play well, and it's the defense. Not completely, though. I would say San Diego, they screwed themselves a lot in this game. Their offensive line is obviously terrible. And
how many times did Rivers literally have to hold his left arm out to be able to throw a pass because guys were getting shoved right in his face?
There was one drive where they had 2 different 1st and 20s, and they worked through them both, actually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've seen they do have a good passing game out there, especially with Antonio Gates back. This guy looks like a beast right now. With him and Keenan Allen, if they get Stevie Johnson back healthy, they look good out there. Danny Woodhead in the passing game. Melvin Gordon looked better in this game. He was actually being used in the passing game in this game. Now, he didn't do much on the ground. Obviously, the Steelers shut down the ground game again this week. But in the passing game, he had 7 receptions in this game. But besides all the mistakes by the offensive line for the Chargers, the Steelers defense still played well in this game. I mean, they had some injuries. They had Shamarko Thomas in for a lot of this game.
They had Shamarko and Golden in at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. Their secondary got hurt, and it still didn't hurt them too much. Now, the Cockrell, you could tell this guy has some upside. You could tell he's raw as well. He makes some mistakes here and there, but I like what I see out of him as well. All in all, great game. I mean, another pick six, the first one this season. We seen it a lot last season, and that was a big point in winning this game as well.
Holding that ball like a loaf of bread. Antoine Blake, you are lucky. Thank you for the touchdown. Great play, but come on, son. Tuck that ball in.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Get to the end zone. This ain't Pee-wee.
Jarvis Jones, too. This was probably his best game of the season,
Definitely.
maybe of his career, I would have to believe. He had a sack in this game, and he forced a fumble.
Sorry, it's just funny that we say it's the best game of his career.
Well, he hasn't done
got
much,
a sack. Man. This dude's getting up there in the world.
He hasn't done much yet, man, but Bud Dupree looked good. Stephon Tuitt looked all right. I mean, he didn't do too much.
Yeah, but you know what? Him and Hayward, they never come out.
Yeah.
If you watch, there is no D-line rotation. These guys are in there. They were pouring sweat late in that game. So kudos to them. The offense kept putting them in bad positions, 3 and out. Defense going against, Rivers' high-powered offense in that heat. So I thought they held up for their end of the bargain for what they needed.
Most definitely. And I tell you what, Shamarko Thomas didn't play too bad either. I mean, he didn't do anything too great, but he did recover a fumble, had a couple tackles.
I'll give it to him. He didn't screw up.
Yeah, so I'm happy with the defense again. And I said this is their biggest test of the season outside of that New England game. And yeah, they didn't have Stevie Johnson. He is a big part of this offense, but I don't think that's the reason why San Diego didn't get it done in this game. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is starting to be for real. And once you get Big Ben back, this is looking like a team that can really make a push in the playoffs if they get him back soon enough at least.
This game would have been different, I feel, if Martavis Bryant would have been able to play.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I tell you what, a lot of Vick's, like I said, Vick didn't look the same as he always does. He just didn't have the power behind his arm for 3 quarters, and then when they went down 17-10, he flipped a switch and put it together. But there was just something, even the deep balls, they just looked so soft and short. I don't know, it just looked different.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought Vick threw the ball well, so...
But he always had, like, a hard throw gun. Even last week we seen it.
Vick.
That jet lag will kill you.
I just hope we don't run the freaking Wildcat next week. Ugh.
I agree.
Please don't do it, Haley. Just let Ben be the offensive coordinator. I know they're not going to let him, but...
Yeah, I agree. Who do you think your offensive player in the game was, though, man? It's hard to find one.
For me, it's Le'Veon Bell. He scored the game-winning touchdown. I know he struggled a little bit. Still averaged 5.3 yards on the ground. Had 4 catches, I think. He scored one of 2 offensive touchdowns that we got. It was the last one we needed. It put us ahead. So that's what I'm giving it to him for.
47?
I don't know. I mean, there's 2 people that stand out to me this game. One obviously Jim just mentioned was Le'Veon Bell, but I mean, I want to give a shout out to Mike Vick because, I mean, in all actuality, I mean, it was Vick and Le'Veon Bell that carried this team that offensively. They got it together. Vick with the big touchdown pass, Bell with the game-winning touchdown, although I don't like his usage in the Wildcat like you guys. But, I mean, all in all, those 2 guys carried the load. Offensive line was bad. They got it done somehow.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. The reason I didn't pick Vick is because he wasn't even on the field for the winning touchdown. So I just can't seem to give it to a guy who wasn't even out there when we got the win. But I'm not going to say, he played well enough for us to win. So it's not a knock on Vick. That was the coaching staff's decision.
Here's why I am going to give it to Mike Vick, along with 47 here, is he looked bad for most of the game, almost 3 quarters. But when they went down, like I said, he came up with the big pass to tie the game. San Diego went down, kicked a field goal, and Le'Veon Bell wouldn't have been at the 1-yard line in Wildcat if it wasn't for Mike Vick. He really put it together on that last drive, had 5 or 6 good throws right on target. He had... It was, 3rd and 5 or something, and he had the big 24-yard run to put him in field goal range, and then he had that big throw to Heath Miller at the 1-yard line where there was a headshot on him, and that really stopped the clock for him and let them have that extra play for Le'Veon Bell to get in the end zone. So I know Vick didn't, like I said, Vick looked better last week in my opinion, but when we really needed him, he put it together. There's no one else on this offense that I really thought stood out in any big way. Mike Vick, when we needed him, he went down and helped us get that win.
I was shocked we still came out in that Wildcat formation after San Diego seen it and called a timeout, and then we still came out in the same exact play. That took some balls.
Yeah, ridiculous. I don't know if that's
if
balls
they don't
or
score,
just terrible
If
coaching.
they don't score there, we're calling Tomlin an idiot, and people are calling for his job. They punched it into the end zone. He's a freaking genius. But last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe not last week, they put the ball in Vick's hands to win the game, and he didn't do it. Everybody criticized him for it. So this week, what did he do? He put the ball in the hands of his best player and said, fine, everybody said I should have given it to Le'Veon. Let's give it to Le'Veon. He ran it in. Dude's a genius now.
I still say bad coaching.
I don't know. I'm not going to say bad coaching because honestly, you got to take chances at some point or another.
Believe
and
it.
quite frankly, that's saying, you know what? You want this game? Go out there and get it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted
You do
it.
got to take
they got
chances,
it.
and I felt like they didn't take enough chances until, look, they did not take a chance until they were really down 17-10, and they had to go with Mike Vick. I mean, when they were down there, it was either Mike Vick was going to pass the ball down the field or they were going to lose this game.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think the offense is entirely too conservative for the majority of this football game.
To me, that says that they don't trust Vick and they're not liking what they see from him in practice. That's what that says
that's
to
a
me.
possibility. And it looked like they didn't even practice this past week, if you ask me.
Yeah, all that talk we did about, I did it too, how much better Vic should look with the extra time, playing on Thursday and then not playing again until Monday.
The whole team.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
the
whole team
offensive
didn't.
line looked like they didn't practice. The receivers, I mean, they weren't helping Vic out either. There was a drop pass or two out there. I know Spaeth dropped one right in his hands when Vic was struggling.
Why would they even call a pass play to that dude either?
I mean,
Ridiculous.
just everything. I was just so upset how they looked, but they come out, get the win, so I'm looking forward to next week, although it's going to be tough.
I forget who it was. Somebody this morning I was listening to on the B Squad was talking. They went back and looked. Antonio Brown was open on a couple plays, and Vic didn't quite get to him, they said, on the progression. But that doesn't make sense to me, because AB, 99% of the time, is your first progression.
Well, I tell you what, when did it happen? Because I tell you what,
That's what they didn't say either.
Antonio Brown, I've seen a lot of him being covered 101, and he was covered in a lot of that. So if it was later in the game, maybe they started to switch it up. Hey, we got to look Wheaton's way first. We got to look Hayward Bay's way first. You never know. But if it was early in the game, then that's a little different.
And Ben also has more, maybe not more trust, but more work with Antonio. So when Antonio is one-on-one, Ben will still throw it to him.
Right.
And then, Brown comes up with those great catches. Vic, you can't blame the guy. He doesn't have the rapport with Antonio that Ben does, but he doesn't have that trust quite yet either. And I mean, he's only been here 9 weeks, I think, total.
Something like that. I tell you what, though, he should be 2-0. No doubt about that. And the Steelers should be 4-1 right now.
I'll take at least being 3-2 and 1-1 with Vic. I don't think Ben's going to come back this week coming up against Arizona. I've heard some people talking about it. I don't think it's a good idea to rush him back. Arizona's got a good pass rush. I don't want to see Ben get hurt again. He's still in a knee brace. Ben's never played in a knee brace.
And you look at what the offensive line did this past week.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason to rush Ben back.
Yeah. Vic's holding it down. We got it at home. Maybe they'll actually practice this week. I'm not sure. I don't really know what Tomlin's plan is.
Shazier coming back, Martavis Bryant coming back. We got some things to look forward to. And I know Arizona, one of the best looking offenses in the league, but it's still not a given.
No, it's never a given. Pittsburgh's beat up on Arizona since, the whole merger thing went on with the AFL, NFL, and everything. The Cardinals, were 4-2 against them since they moved to Arizona? I mean, it's definitely not a given. We own Carson Palmer, so Pittsburgh could win this game, and it wouldn't shock me. It'll be a close one, though.
Before we wrap this up, we didn't mention defensive player of the game.
I'm just going to give it to the linebackers. I mean, I thought collectively they played well. Like you said, Dupree had a good game. Jones had his best game probably as a pro. Lawrence Timmons blocked that ball late in the game. He batted that pass down from Phillip Rivers. That was huge. Sean Spence and Vince Williams, they didn't make any splash plays, but did you ever see them get beat? Not really. So I'm going to give it to this whole group of young linebackers. I think they're really starting to come into form.
47. Anybody you want to mention?
I'm going to give a shout out to the whole defense, to be honest with you. You know, these guys were constantly put in bad predicaments the entire game. They were on the field for the majority of the game.
Yeah, like 37 minutes, I think.
So, I
34
mean,
minutes.
quite frankly, I mean, all of them deserve a little bit of credit for something. But if I'd go with a single guy, I'd go with Lawrence Timmons. I think he had a nice football game.
Quiet
tonight.
good.
A couple tackles for loss. He had a pass defended, totaling 9 tackles, 5 of them solo. So, I mean...
I tell you who I'm going to give it to. I'm going to go with Antoine Blake.
I was
because
hoping
of the
somebody would. He deserves it.
I was thinking about it.
Look, he had the big pick six. When Big Ben first went down, we said we need Le'Veon Bell to run the ball well. Look, he has his first 2 back-to-back 100-yard games of his career since Vick became the quarterback. What else did we say? The defense got to step up and make some big plays for him. Antoine Blake went out there, made the pick, took it back to the zone. Big play by Blake, my MVP.
Yeah, I'm going to give Blake props because I never gave him a lot of credit, especially coming out of camp. I didn't think this guy would be that good, and he's played solid this year. Not great, but solid. But that's all we got for you, fans. Get ready for our Steelers-Cardinals preview show. Check out our fantasy football show, our pick show if you want to make some money. You can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Go to our YouTube page, click subscribe. Big ups to T-Lat, Eddie B. I know you're pumped up about this game. Who are your favorite teams, buddy?